Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is the third video in our introduction to Autogen Crash Course. In this video, we're going to learn how to work with basically having a group chat. So in the other videos, we have learned how to work with single agent, multiple agents that having conversation together. We have a user proxy and we have another assistant agent, and the user proxy and the assistant agent work together to accomplish a certain task, right? So in this video, we're going to cover a group chat. So basically what a group chat is, it's just basically what it literally means, right? A group chat, right? There are multiple people in a group and they're having a conversation. So in this case, I want to have mainly three agents: the user proxy agent, the climate activist agent, and then the rocket scientist agent. So we're going to give them a discussion on how to design environmentally friendly rockets. So basically, the climate activists will have all the knowledge on climate change, how to design rockets that are environmentally friendly and all that. And then also have the rocket scientist, and the rocket scientists have all the knowledge and the know-how on how to build rockets, right? So they will use the both of their knowledge to be able to design we can ask them to design environmentally friendly rockets. Again, this agent will have tools to be able to browse the internet, to conduct researches, to find out the latest trends in climate change and rocket design, so they can incorporate all that into making their final decision. So this is what we are doing right now. Is just a group chat, and then the next video we'll look at asynchronous function calling within group chats. So let's get into it and let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my VS Code right here, and under section I'm going to go under section 1. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it this part 3, so underscore 3.py. Okay, so inside of this file right here, I'm just going to go ahead and copy some of the code content that we have, because we're going to use them here as well. Okay, so let me just copy everything from here as well. Okay, copy that and then bring it right here. Okay, again, all this is from the last video, so if you haven't checked out the last videos, you can go back and watch the last videos and we can have a clearer understanding of what I'm really doing here. Okay, so just copy what we did from the last video and I brought it in here. Okay, so I'm going to make a couple of changes. The first thing I'm going to do, let me start with the user proxy agent. So let me just move this guy all the way down here. Okay, so for the user proxy agent, so let me just go ahead, we just have the basic imports, and then finally we load in the configurations, we pass in the LM configurations, and then we can go ahead and start creating our agents. So the first agent that I want to create in here is going to be the user proxy agent, and it has a name user proxy agent. You pass in the LM configuration as the LM configuration reloaded up here, and we can pass in a system message. So we can also go ahead and pass in a system message, and system message you can just go ahead and say anything. So let's say that this is going to be, I'm just going to use anything. I'm going to go ahead and say this is the human admin, or basically the chat manager within the group chat. And then finally we have is terminate message, which is just exactly as we had last time from the last video. Then we have the human input, which is set to be never, and then you can say maximum consecutive auto replies. You can also pass in there, so you can say maximum consecutive auto replies, and I'm going to leave that to be 10. Okay, good. So that's all I need to create the user proxy. Okay, good. So once I have the user proxy, now I'm going to go ahead and create the let's start by creating the climate activist agent. Okay, so the climate, I'm going to give it a name here, climate underscore activist underscore agent. So the climate activist agent, let me see if I got that right. So climate activist agent, good. So let me just call it climate activist without the agent part of it. So yeah, that's it. So the climate activist agent, you can give it a name right here. You can call it the climate activist agent. So I'm gonna copy this and then paste it right here, and then passing the LM config and passing the system prompt. So the system prompt basically tells this agent how we should act or how we should behave within our system or within our group chat. So I'm going to go here and specify basically a system prompt. So I'm just saying you are a let's say you are a climate activist activist with a vast knowledge on how to design, okay, with the vast knowledge on, let's say with the vast knowledge on climate change instead of design, the vast knowledge on climate change and ways to prevent further climate change, just like that. So this is a simple system prompt. You can basically you can modify the system prompt and make it more as sophisticated and advanced as possible, but for me, I'm just going to leave it to be this simple. So basically, you're a climate change activist with a vast knowledge on climate change and ways to prevent further climate change. That's it. That's all I want to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy this and then paste it down here, and you're going to do this now. It's going to be the rocket rocket scientist. So rocket underscore scientist, scientist, just like that. Copy that name, paste it here, and also paste it here. So good. So we have the rocket scientist right there. So we have the rocket scientist, and we have the climate activist. Now in here, okay, you need to provide in the system prompt, right? So let's just go ahead and pass in the system prompt. So let's say you are a rocket scientist with a vast knowledge okay, how do you spell knowledge by the way? Okay, this is knowledge. Okay, knowledge on how to design rockets to be efficient. Okay, so just like that, and then say just basically any system. I'm just making up things up here, so you can just take your time and then make this more sophisticated as much as possible. So I'm going to say you let me just say get that right. So you also take the effect of your rockets on the climate change when designing, right? So when designing it, like this is a rocket scientist, and he also takes in the account, or takes into account the effects that his or her rocket design is having on the climate. So yeah, so that's basically my prompt that I'm going to use. So let's read the prompt through one more time. So you are a rocket scientist with a vast knowledge on how to design rockets to be efficient. You also take the effect of your rockets on the climate when designing it, like the effect that the rocket is having on the climate change or on the climate in general. So that's basically it. So once I have that there, I'm going to go ahead and create the group. So we have all the agents that you want to be part of the group, and now we want to go ahead and add all these agents into a group. So to do that, we need to import, we can just go ahead and use it, right? So let's say group is going to be equals to, I can say autogen group. Basically create a group like that, a group chat. And once inside of this group chat, you're going to go ahead and pass in a couple of things. You're going to pass in agents, and the agent is going to be a list of agents. So we're going to have the rocket scientist, the climate activist, and also you're going to have the user proxy, right? The user proxy, just like that. And once we have that, you can go ahead and pass in other parameters, right? You can say messages, and message you're going to leave it to be an empty list for now because you haven't said any messages. And you're going to say maximum amount of rounds is going to be, let's say, 100. So basically what maximum rounds controls is that how many rounds of conversations can these agents have within the group, right? So we don't want them to have an infinite amount of rounds of conversation, because then the conversation will never really end. So we specify a limit that, hey, you can only go 10 rounds of conversation, and once that's done, stop, right? So you don't avoid, like, you don't use a much amount of, like, too many tokens, right? Okay, so once we have that, now let's create the manager. We're going to say manager is going to be equals to autogen.group autogen. So autogen dot group. It is going to be a group chat manager right here. Good. So once we have in there, we're going to go ahead and specify the group chat that we want, and the group chat is going to be the group that we created above here. So you can say group right here. Good. And by the way, let me just call this group chat as well. So copy this. Let me copy this and paste it here, and also update this to be group chat. Good. So that's basically what I need to create the group chat manager. I have to also pass in the LLM configurations, and the LLM configuration will be the LLM configurations. It's going to be equals to the LLM configuration that we have above there. Good, which is this guy all the way up here. This guy up here. So that's what we are specifying right here. Okay, good. So now that you specify this, and now I also told that now basically you can just from this can begin to have a conversation between these agents, right? But now I want the agents to be able to have a tool, and in the last video we covered how to use tools and function calling in Autogen. So we're going to use that same concept right here to create a tool to enable these agents to be able to browse the internet for latest information. So we're going to go ahead and create a tool using the function calling called function method, okay, that we discussed in the last video. Okay, so if you want to check out that video, you can go ahead and check it out. Okay, so I'm going to say tools right here, and you're going to go ahead and have a tool. So there, I'm going to say you're going to have a browser tool that enables browse underscore tool. So this browser, let's call it browse underscore web, browse underscore, I think browse has an E, yeah, browse underscore web. just like that. And then you're going to go ahead and pass in a query, basically what you want to query, and this is going to be of type str. Okay, let's pass in type hints, and it's going to return to us again str at the end of the day. So what we want to do in this function, want to do inside of this function is basically have the following. So I'm going to go ahead and pass in a try and try and except block, except exception as e, and then simply we can print out that exception. That's it. So good. So once we have this done in here, or basically you can also raise a value exception if you want to. But what I want to do in here is just simply add in my DuckDuckGo search tool. So make sure you have DuckDuckGo imported, which is this one right here. Okay. So once I have that imported, I'm going to go in here and simply say with, you're going to use the context manager with DuckDuckGo as the DuckDuckGo search. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is simply say result is going to be equals to, I'm going to use list comparison right here to say for r in DuckDuckGo search dot text. And you're going to go ahead and pass in the following. So I'm going to pass in the query that the user passed in. So let me get rid of this. The query and then say max, get rid of that. So max underscore result is going to be equals to, let's say max result is going to be equals to 1. So DuckDuckGo dot the text, and then finally pass in the query itself, and then the maximum amount of search result that you want back from that specific search. So that's basically what I want to do right here. And once I have the result, I'm just going to go ahead and simply say return. You're going to return result if result else not found, just like that. So that's basically it. So that's it. So you're going to, this is a ternary statement in Python. So you're going to say return result if there is a result, else return return not found, which is a string of not found. Okay, so it's if you are not aware of ternary statement in Python, well, that's fine, but basically that's how it works. So we're going to return result if there is a result, else we're going to return no. So you can just read it like English, right? Return result if result, else return not found. It's just like plain English, right? Good. So once we have that, then now we're going to create a function that's going to be calling this function, right? Because you have the called function, calling function architecture, right? That we discussed in the last video. So I'm going to go here and simply say def, and you're going to say web underscore browser underscore tool, and inside of this right here, I'm going to go ahead and having let's just say we're going to return a string at the end of the day. So let's return a string right here, and for now I'm going to just simply pass in the pass right here. So good. So okay, press the wrong buttons. Okay, strange. Okay, so once I have this, let me just properly fix the indentation right here. So good. So once I have this, what I simply want to do is pass in a query, and a query is going to be, you're going to use annotated. Again, we discussed why I'm using annotated in this case. So we're going to say this is going to be of type string, and you're going to say query string containing information that you want to search using the internet, just like that. So that's basically it. Okay, so now once we have that done, good, you're good to go. Okay, good. So once we have that done, now you can go ahead and simply call the function. So we're going to go ahead and call this function right here, and then get back now the query result. So we're going to simply say result is going to be equals to browse web, and then you're going to pass in the query that was passed in to us. And then you're going to return the result. Okay, result. That's it. Okay, so that's all this function does. Once we have this function, now you have to register this function as a tool. So how do we do that? We go down here and you can simply say autogen dot agent chat dot register. You're going to go ahead and register this function. So register function, and then you're going to go in here and specify the function you want to register, which is going to be the web basically the web browser tool. Okay, did I call it web browser? Okay, let me see. Yeah, I call it web browser tool. Okay, good. So once we have that done, you can go ahead and pass in other arguments, right? You're going to call a caller. So a caller is basically anything that can call this function. You're going to have two main callers. So two agents can call these functions, right? So you're going to have one caller. The first is going to be the rocket scientist can call this function, and then now the executor is going to be now the user proxy. And we discussed all this in the other video, so you can go back and check that in case you get confused anywhere. So passing the executor, And then finally pass in the description of this function. So just say, okay, so we're going to go ahead and say web browser, just like that. So good. So once you have this right here, you can simply copy this here now and then paste it right here. So what's simply done here is simply we have simply added this tool, right? This tool right here, I've added it to the toolbox of the rocket scientist. Now we want to also add the same tool to the toolbox of the climate activist. So the rocket scientist and the climate activist have a web browser tool that they can use to browse the internet and search for latest information based on whatever they want to search for, right? So that's basically how you can add those tools in there. So once we have this now, we are good to go. Again, you can also print out the JSON and just see how it looks like and everything looks. If you want to, you can this is this which is this code we did last time right here, which is this one right here. You can simply copy it and then simply paste it right here. And let me just uncomment that out. Okay, and then comment this out. For now, I'm going to go ahead and simply say climate activist. Let me just change it to be climate activist. Yeah, so that's it. So I'm gonna get rid of this right here. Okay. Okay, so that's all I want. And once I have that done, now we can go ahead and simply, you can actually copy this and paste again and then change this to be the rocket scientist. So you can see these functions being added to both of those agents if you want to. But I can just do it for one agent just to demo it to you. So once I have this, I'm gonna clear the terminal, change directory into my sections, and then okay, so okay, and then change directory in sections. Once I'm in there, I'm going to simply say poetry run python 3, and then you're going to run the path 3.py file. Okay, so once we run this file, we should now see now the function calling, the function that has been added to the basically, let's see which agent I'm print for the climate activist agent, and you can see this is a function calling that has been done. Okay, so you can see now we are doing this in just these few lines of code, but manually back in the time we used to do this, or let's write all this kind of thing, which is really, it was really annoying to me. I found it really annoying and really tedious to do, but now with this function it takes away all that headache. Okay, so once we have that done, I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to now use a user proxy to initiate a conversation. Okay, a group chat conversation. We're going to say user underscore proxy. You're going to say dot initiate chat. Right, I'm going to use the initiate user proxy dot initiate chat, and then finally you're going to go ahead and pass in the following. So instead of the initiate chat method, you're going to go ahead and pass in the following. You're going to pass in the manager, which is now I'm going to be the manager of the whole group conversation, right? And we create the manager up here. If you remember, you have the manager right here. And now you're going to go ahead and now pass in the basically the message that you want to, basically a prompt that you want these agents to have a discussion on. So message are going to be equals to, and then going to be a Python string. So basically you just say discuss on the best way to design rockets to be environmentally friendly and efficient. Okay, so in this case, you're going to have the two agents discuss. When it comes to the climate change, the climate part, you're going to have the climate activist. And when it comes to the rocket design part, you're going to have the rocket scientist. So the rocket scientist will suggest ways of designing rockets to be efficient. And then the climate activist now can see how environmentally friendly that technique is, right? So that's basically what you need to do. So once we have this in there, you can go ahead, clear the terminal, and then begin to have the initiated conversation between these agents right here. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so the user proxy basically sends the message to the group, which is also the group manager, which is the chat manager. So now the conversation is going to begin, and let's see how this goes. Yeah, so you can see it got back an output right here. So the rocket scientist designed rocket, blah blah, to be environmentally friendly. It got back all this output. That's a huge output. So you can just take some time to read through and see what the rocket scientist has suggested. Now the climate activist has responded. It said the approach detailed above integrates multiple disciplines, including advanced material science, propulsion technology, and environmental engineering, reflecting on a comprehensive strategy for blah blah blah, mitigating ecological footprint of space exploration, research and development, blah blah. You can see how they're discussing all that, and they also have these tools, and they can browse the internet and do different stuff. Now you get back the user proxy to the chat. Absolutely, your emphasis on collaborating and evolving approach to taking rocket launches are more environmentally friendly, and environmental friendly is vital. Blah blah. And you can see the conversation right going between these two agents. So aspiring sustainable innovations. So you can see all this right here. But they haven't used, what I noticed, they haven't used the tool that they have yet. So sometimes, again, these are AI agents, right? I don't have control over what they do. So sometimes you can use like, I don't have absolute control over how they're thinking or how they do, right? So sometimes you can use the tools, and sometimes you don't just use the tool. So it just says something out of my control, right? So that's something people are fearing about AI, but yeah, that's basically how it works. You don't actually have this. We don't control what these LLMs are basically thinking or doing, right? So that's what people are scared of AI. But yeah, so sometimes it might use a tool and sometimes it doesn't. So again, this is out of my control. So let's see how this works. Yeah, so you got back another output. This is the user proxy. Now your perspective enriches the conversation around environmental aspect of rocket science and space exploration, blah blah. And you can see all that right here. So everything works fine. My only what I really wanted to see was them using the tool, but in this case happens that they're not using the tool. They're not using the tool to browse the internet. But again, when you run it different times, they use the tool. Sometimes they just don't use the tool. Yeah, so that's really, again, out of my control. So this can take a while, so you just have to be patient and see how the conversation, while you're being waiting, there's a lot of text for you to read, right, to keep you entertained while waiting. So just read through the text and see how what these bots are basically having a conversation over. And just, yeah, and you can see you have another output right here. Insights amplify the nuance, complexities, and requirement, blah blah. And you can see all that right here. In essence, the dialogue between experts and activists within the sector is crucial in driving forward these sustainable initiatives. Continuous blah blah challenges and collaboration will ensure space exploration contribute positively to global environmental goals, ensuring the legacy of our celestial endeavors is one of the innovations and responsibility. Okay, good. Okay, so you can see it goes on and on and on, and you can see this guy is having multiple basically having a conversation with itself over and over again. It's just having conversation with itself. I think that's why the other agents are not getting a chance to use the tool. So one of the ways you can control this is just by going in here, and it's good that we found this issue while running the code. I think it's right here. Maximum convert auto replies. You can change this maybe to like a number like 2, so that it avoids this auto replying to itself, and that can avoid this kind of thing whereby getting just one proxy having conversation with itself, right? The user proxy having conversation with itself over and over again. So yeah, well, we can just change the value right here, change it maybe like to 2 or 3. 3 is even fine. Yeah, and that should now prevent this thing of just one agent having a conversation with itself over and over again. It doesn't even make sense, right? It's not a group chat anymore. It's just one guy talking to himself, one bot talking to himself. Yeah, so that's basically how you can control it, and that's how you can work with group chats. Again, this can take a long time, so I'm not gonna wait until this is done. But yeah, that's how you can create a group chat with multiple agents. So now that you have understand how this works, now the challenge is yours. Or basically, think of anything creative that you want to do. Create multiple bots of different personalities with good prompts, and then put them in a group to have a conversation together. You might be surprised. So then you can create one for maybe an Elon Musk or maybe like Trump, and then another one for another politician, maybe Biden in the US or something, and let them have a conversation, and let's see how interesting that conversation might be. Yeah guys, so that's all for this, and thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the content so far, make sure that you like the video, you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you want to support me further, you can buy me coffee. The links is in the description of the video. So thank you guys for watching so much, and see you in the next one. Keep safe.